What we are about to discuss is not just about Rural Farmers Hub. It's about you. It's about how you can actually make real money doing what you're already good at, which is talking to farmers. Um, Before we start, I want to ask you something simple. So, how many of you know what it feels like when a farmer trusts you? Like when they call you by your name, um, when they listen to what you have to say and they follow your advice. So, if you have felt it, and I have, that feeling, it's power. That's power. That's what power feels like. And I would say that's exactly what we are building today. That's the essence of this workshop. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you how extension agents in Nigeria are using rural farmers hub solutions like Chief to become the most respected person in their community. It's not by being pushy, but by being the person who actually helps farmers spend their money smarter. So let's go over it one by one. The first thing I want you to keep in mind is that when I talk about rural farmers, I'm talking about you. That you are the brand, and I mean it literally. You. It's not rural farmers hub. It's not me. It is you, and it is my job to show you how to win in the field in the community. I want you to remember this as we go along. You know, right? Let me start here. What do you think you do? If someone asks you, what is your job? What do you say? You know, most most people say, I mean, within our field, most people say, I'm an extension agent. But but here is what I want you to hear. You don't you're not selling soil analysis and soil testing. Think about that. You don't. You are actually solving problems, you know, real farmers' problem. Every time you visit a farm, something happens. The farmer sees you, they they talk to you. Uh, Maybe you give advice, maybe you answer a question. In that visit, it's not just a visit. That is marketing. And here are the key insights. Every farmer you who gets a better yield because of your advice, they become your best marketer. They tell other farmers that that agent helped me. He or she is trustworthy. You know, Go and talk to her. That is how real marketing works in the community. It is not by advertisement. It is not by sharing flyers. It's not by uh, it's not by any of those. It is farmers telling farmers. The reality on the ground is many folds. The first problem is that farmers, they spend blindly on fertilizer. I want you to think about it. A farmer goes to the market and the agro dealer says, this fertilizer will give you better yield. The farmer buys it, they use it, and nothing special happens. Or even worse, their harvest will go down because the fertilizer wasn't right for that soil. So, how much money did that farmer waste? You know, Not just the cost of fertilizer, other cost, transportation. Nobody knows, but it happens every season. The second problem is that, um, and this is important, farmers don't trust recommendation from people who are selling. The reason is because they know the seller has a commission. They don't trust, recommendation from people who want to sell them something. That doubt in the farmer's mind is always there, and it's logic. Okay. The third problem is that because of this doubt, you know, the harvest of many farmers, they stay flat. A farmer does not, know what soil really needs, so they cannot optimize. They can't make, smart decisions. They just hope, and hope is not a strategy. Hmm? So this is where you come in, in the midst of all these doubts in the farmer's mind, and this is why an extension agent is very different from an agro dealer. So, and I'm going to show you three reasons why that is the case. Number one is that you are trusted because you serve farmers. You don't serve rural farmers hub. You don't serve the input companies. When a farmer has a problem, who do they call? They call you. They don't call the agro dealer. It's you. You know, a fertilizer agro dealer or seed agro dealer, his goal is to make sales. But what is your goal? Your goal, at least it should be, your goal is to help the farmers to get better results. Those are different goals. Number two is that you are local. You know this community very well. You know the villages. You know the soil. You walked on this soil. You walked on this farm. You talk to these farmers every week. You you understand the context, the rainy season, the pests. You understand their money situation. You know the money situation in the community. You know them very well. The fertilizer agro dealer may not really know this. They may not know any of this. And farmers know they know. And that matters. The third one is that you have data. And this is a new part for many extension agents. And this is what Rural Farmers Hub brings. You can now say to a farmer, this is not my opinion. This is data. It's satellite data. It's an AI analysis. It is lab tested. It is very accurate. That's powerful, because now your advice is not just trusted, okay? It is proven. So when a farmer listens to you, they are not just listening to a neighbor or their sibling. They are listening to the person who knows them. They know the soil and they have data to back it up. Okay. So you get the point. Now I want you to be honest about something, yeah? We cannot serve every farmer, at least not equally. We have to be smart about where we focus. And here is our strategy. And I'm sharing this so that you understand, why some farmers, they may matter more than other farmers, right now. We will cover them later, but right now, some farmers, they are up there. So, and we have to focus on farmers, working either with an agro dealer or for commercial purpose. You know why? There are three reasons why you have to target a specific type of farmers and not just any farmer. The first one is that these farmers, they have budget. Any farmer that has budget, they have money, they are serious. So when you are growing for an outgrower, you have to spend money because you have a target for this outgrower. They are not just hoping for free fertilizer. You see, that's the first one. The second one is that these kind of farmers, they want proof. Okay, because of the agro program, they want to see results. They don't care about it. They want to see results. So the farmer wants to also see result. Because of this, they are motivated. Third, they are organized in most cases. So because of that, there is accountability. Okay, and that makes your job easier. So your primary focus is to find farmers working in a commercial way. You give them this holistic service. You show them results. From there, you build from there. Now, this doesn't mean that we ignore the other farmers who don't meet this criteria. It means that we are smart about how we start. The point is that where we play is where we can win the fastest, and That's with, with this kind of farmers who are already motivated. How do you take this farmer from hello to a customer? Okay. And I think this can make it, we can make this very concrete. What does a successful farmer relationship look like? I'm going to show you this in 6 steps. The first one is introduce. You have to meet the farmer. And when you meet this farmer, you have to explain simply, what RFH is. For example, you can say, I help farmers spend their fertilizer budget or money smarter. That's it. I'm here to see if we can work together. You can pick your own icebreakers, doesn't matter. But you have to start with a conversation. Number 2 is discover. You ask questions. For example, you must ask, what is your farm size? How much land do you cultivate? What do you grow? What is hard about it? And then you listen. You learn their situation. And afterwards, you do demo. You have to show them a sample soil analysis right there, on your phone. You show them the result either of other previous farmers or even their own farmers, their own farm. They see that it is real. From there, you show them, you recommend. That's the 4th step. So based on the soil data, you tell them what fertilizer that they need to buy. There's no guessing. Actual data. From there, you enroll them. They'll now become your customer. So they'll pay for their own farm. So they can start getting regular soil results, recommendations. They become consistent farmers in your portfolio. And last but not the least, support. After they've subscribed, you have to follow up. You see how they are doing, you track their results, you keep them engaged season after season. That's what the funnel looks like, and it's not complicated. So let's let's go to the next slide. How do you go from hello to to that? So here is what I know about you. Okay. Many of you are nervous about the first conversation. How do you bring up this, without sounding like you are selling something? Okay, that's a good question to have. And the answer is simple. Do not lead with soil testing or the product. Lead with the problem. You start with the problem. And here's what an opening line could look like. I'm here to help you spend your fertilizer money in a smart way. Okay. I have a soil testing service. That's not a smart way. You are selling. You don't say, I have this technology. No. You say, I want to help you spend your fertilizer money smarter. You see, that's a better way. You are talking about a problem because every farmer has this problem. They spend money on fertilizer already, majority of them, but they don't know if it is working. So there is a worry there. Your opening at your the way you start, it addresses that worry directly when you talk about the problem. Then you can now ask, how much do you use? How much fertilizer do you use per season? And then you ask something like, do you know what your soil actually needs? 2 simple questions, and boom, you have started a real conversation with this farmer. The farmer will probably say, I don't know, or I guess it's just a fertile soil, or something like that. And when they say this, what do you say? You say, that's exactly why I'm here. I want to see how I can help you figure it out. I want to see how that works. You see, you are not pushing. You are simply offering to help. And that's a big difference. So let's go to the next slide. Now, while these things may sound like very, cushy, there are certain things that can feel the trust that you're building with the farmers. Okay. And I want to talk about what not to do. Because in the last 7 years, I have seen extension agents, they mess things up, and this will cost them. Okay. Mistake number 1, don't say something like, this soil analysis will double your yield. Stop. Don't say this ever. Do you know why? Because when a farmer does not see double yield, they lose trust in you. You have promised something you cannot guarantee. So let's not say that. And the truth is that soil testing helps farmer make better decision, and better decision usually means better yield. But does it double it? That is an overpromise. Instead, what you can say is, um, with better data means better fertilizer choice. And usually that means 30 or 40% improvement on your yield, depending on your farm. You see, that's an honest way to say it. In fact, this one is believable because you're not promising double because you don't know for sure, but you can guarantee that there will be an increment. Mistake number two is that you say something like, this will make your fertilizer cost cheaper. When you say this, you sound like a fertilizer merchant, like an agro dealer, and the farmer's brain will go, Kai. When this happens, you lose trust. That advantage you had, you lose it instantly. What you can say is, so based on this soil data, this is the right fertilizer to use for your soil. It might cost you more money a bit upfront, but the yield improvement means that you save money overall. Now you're talking about the value the farmer will get, not about the price. The third mistake I have seen people make is that they will say, you've been farming the wrong way. Haba. This is disrespectful. Let's start with that. Farmers already, they know a lot. They've been farming for years and maybe decades, maybe older than many of us. So let's not insult their knowledge. Instead, you can say something like, you've been doing great work. Now we have new tools like soil data that can help you do even better. That is respect. And farmers, they respond to respect. Mistake number four, talking about price early. Never. Never talk about money before you've built value. If you talk about money on the first visit, the farmer will think, one number two, this person is trying to get money from me. They will just lock up. So what you can do is to talk about value first, build trust, and then you talk about money. So when you get to the discovery part, you need to ask real question, okay? Because you don't want to waste your time. You need to ask good questions, not just leading questions, but question that helps you to understand the farmer. The first question you can ask is, how much land do you farm? So why? Because the size of the land, it determines your return on investment as an extension agent. A farmer with 2 hectares and a farmer with 20 hectares, they are different. How? They have different budget. They have different urgency. They have different opportunity. Question two, what do you grow? Maize, rice, uh, millet, beans. Why? Why do you ask this question? Different crops have different soil needs. You need to know what they are working with. And then the third question is, how much fertilizer did you use last season or every season on the average? You want to know the most important question because this tells you their budget line. If they say 150,000 naira, that's your reference point. You can now say in your mind, okay, so if we help you use this 150,000 naira better, we could save you money or even give you a better yield. The fourth question is, and I like this question a lot because you're asking about the individual challenges. What is your biggest challenge? And it's an important one because now listen, when you ask this question, you have to start listening. Are they saying low yields? Are they saying bad soil? Are they saying they have money problem? Is it a pest problem? The answer tells you what the farmer cares about. You know, that is what you should address. That's the problem you should be addressing. You know, and I think these are the four discovery questions. And I want you to you know, practice them, use them, every time to so that when you go out, you can sound a bit more, natural and not like a rehearsed speech. Now let's talk about the demo itself. All right. This is where the magic happens because the demo, and I know from our time in Katsina, this is where the theory, everything we've been talking about soil testing, this is where it becomes real, you know. And of course, this webinar is not about the demo because you already know this. You have to collect the GPS coordinates of the farm. If you're on the farm, you can collect them point by point. If you're not on the farm, you can see the farmer knows exactly where the farm is so you can trace it correctly. And that's important because if you want the farmer to feel like this is not complicated, you have to use your phone, you have to show it to them. And once you finish mapping, the next thing you want to do is to submit the analysis request in the Chief app. You want to do this right there in their front if you can, because the farmer watches this, they see like, this person is using the technology right in front of me. This is real, and technology signals credibility to a farmer these days, so don't underestimate that. Now, after you've done the analysis, you have to now pull up the result. You show them, you say, look, Bala, your soil is missing potassium, so we recommend X fertilizer based on the report. Okay. Now, if you have a previous experience, you can say, okay, this farmer used this, and 3 months later, this happened. The farmer will see and say, oh, this actually works. Other people used it and got result. Now, the step 4 is that you have to explain what the result means. All right. So in simple language, don't try and use big words. Don't say NPK ratio or those big words. Okay. Try and say something like, your soil needs more nitrogen because nitrogen helps the leaf to grow strong. Or your soil needs more potassium because it helps the roots get stronger. And here's what fertilizer, that has both nitrogen and potassium. This fertilizer, simple. It is simple, it is clear, it is direct. And that will take about a few minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes from start to finish. But this 10, 20 minutes will be the most important 20 minutes because now the farmer has seen it. They have felt it, they understand it, and somehow they can relate now. They can now move on to the next stage, which is the trust anchor. So I want to tell you something that makes extension agents that work with rural farmers help different from other extension agents. Okay. One of them is that our soil test analysis are 85% accurate compared to laboratory results. That's high. And that is competitive. Because now you're not giving advice. It's not just your opinion. It's science. It's not guessing. You may say to a farmer, this is not me thinking, this is data. This is satellite data. This is AI, tested, verified. And here's the power move. When the farmer sees, a yield improvement because they followed the recommendation, based on the soil data, okay, this is the only way they know it's real. And because of that, they did not get lucky. They got smarter, and they will remember that. In the next season, they will listen to you again. They will tell their neighbor, go and talk to Mukhtar. Go and talk to Hadiza. She gave me this data and it worked. That is the trust anchor. That's what makes you different, from other extension agents. And this is not something you can buy. Okay, they're not buy it. You can only build it by being an accurate extension agent, an extension agent that is consistently accurate, that is working with data and not guesswork. You know, when you are out there taking these coordinates, also be very careful. You have to take the precise coordinates. Don't do any assumption. Get the coordinates right. Okay, record their details, their names correctly, because this accuracy is your reputation. You know, and your reputation is your income. And then the last part will be to follow up. And the hard truth here is that many people, after they finish that initial interaction with the farmers, they don't follow up. And that's why most extension agents, they fail. Um, you're not going to be most people, and that's what I want you to achieve from this workshop. Follow up is where the magic happens. It is where a farmer who is invested becomes a subscriber. It is where a demonstration becomes a customer. You've got to follow up with them. You know, send them a message, send them a quick call, whatever you have to do. Hello, Alaji. Thank you for talking to me yesterday. I'm currently working on your result. It will be ready in 6 hours or 2 days or something like that, or one day. I'll message you as soon as it's ready. When you do this, you know what happens? You start introducing some thoughts in the farmer's mind. You are keeping it fresh in their mind. You are showing that you care, because of that initial success. You can start suggesting things to him. This is where your conversion moment starts. You become more direct. You ask for a commitment. You ask them to pay, because at this point, things are beginning to kick in. I want to give you something you can use right away, um, like a story. This is a real example. So there's a farmer. Um, so she farms about 3 hectares of land. She grows maize, and every season she buys fertilizer. Okay, she spends around uh, almost 500,000 naira on fertilizer, and she gets okay yields, not so great, but just okay. So she's thinking, maybe I'm just not a good farmer. Maybe it's the land that is the problem. Then an extension agent visits, you know, does the soil analysis. The result comes back. The soil is missing. It has deficiency in potassium, like seriously lacking. The agent says, Hajia, that's it. You have been buying more of urea fertilizer, but your soil needs potassium. You were buying the wrong thing, you know. And Hajia thinks, I said, okay, wait. So I am not a bad farmer, And then the agent told her that, now we know what you need. You can now buy the right, fertilizer, the right blend of NPK, that is. And, you are spending the same amount of money this time around on the right fertilizer. So this Hajia got, her fertilizer cost back in one season. And now, the key thing is that Hajia tells everyone that, her neighbor, her sister, that, that this agent has helped her, spend her money smarter. She recommended they go find this agent, and that's how real marketing works. Because, um, you know, why does this story work? If you think about it, it's because it is specific. It is relatable. It has a problem, which is Ajia has been buying the wrong fertilizer. It has a solution, which is soil data. It has a result, which is better yield and savings, and it has a payoff because Hajia gets her fertilizer money back. You can use a story or find one for your own. You've been working with these guys for a couple of months now. You can build your own story, but learn to tell these stories because they are like gold. Okay. So, what is the greatest been talking point from this so far now? soil testing help you spend your money smarter. The second thing is that the chief app can give you results in seconds. So the first thing is that soil testing help you spend money smarter. Okay. Um, Number two is that our soil test gives results in seconds, not days. The soil data is from satellite data and AI. There's no guessing work involved. Number four is that you only buy what your soil really needs. Okay. Number five is that you have better yields. You get your money back quickly. These five ideas, they are your backbone. You have to find a way to memorize them somehow, because when a farmer asks a question, using one of them, could just be your exit, because these ideas are proven, they work, they've been tested. So don't try to be clever, don't try to invent new pitches every time. Use what works, just repeat them with confidence, and they will work. So let's talk about red flags, you know. So and it's very important because not every farmer is worth your time. Like, you don't have to use somebody aggressively, you know what I'm saying? Like uh and I want you to know when to walk away, because wasting time on the wrong farmers will cost you money. So the first red flag, and if you recall the question we've been asking before, asking about farm size budget, the first red flag you can detect is that if a farmer has no budget for anything. So if a farmer says they don't have money to spend, and I mean they don't have any money at all, that's not a good fit. Not right now. Okay. So you can say something like, okay, come back when you're ready to invest in your farm. That's how you could manage that. And you have to move on. Okay. Any farmer who cannot spend money is not your customer. Red flag number two is that anyone who is only interested in free fertilizer. So some farmers think that when extension agents come to them, that there's a handout to be given. Want free this, they want free that, and you are trying to run a business. So you have to move on. Okay. The third red flag is, any person who is suspicious of technology or data. Some older farmers, they will say, I don't believe in this apps thing. I don't trust this apps thing. I farm the way my father has used to farm. It's a very common thing you will find out, or maybe you already know that. These people need education first. Okay, you don't have to discard it completely. They need time, and they're not ready for a demo, like right that very moment. So you can say something like, I respect your way of farming, and I think when you are interested in trying something new, you can come find me, take my number, you can call me, and then, maybe in 6 months they can come back to you, 1 year or something like that. The fourth red flag is if their farm size is too small. So if your farm is like 0.3 hectares, the economy doesn't work out very well. No, there's no way a farmer can justify investment in soil testing on 0.3 hectares. So you can see something like, so when you are expand to like 1 hectare or even half a hectare, let's talk. That's not me. That's being realistic. And these red flags, they save you time. You can spend that time on farmers who are ready. You see what I mean? So here are some weekly targets that you keep in mind. Okay. So and this is what success looks like. If you do these things every week, I guarantee you that you'll be on track. Your first target is to reach 8 to 10 farmers. Have 8 to 10 conversations. New farmers or people from your community. You introduce them to the chief app, to soil testing. You are planting a seed in those conversations. Not every one of them will eventually become your customer. That's not how it works. But you are building awareness. Second target is, out of this funnel, you're looking to have 2 to 3 discovery interviews out of those, 8 to 10. You're good at, you're not like going deeper with something. You're learning their situation, you're qualifying them if they are part of your customer base. And the next step is that out of those three, you now want to make sure you do like one or two soil demos with one of them, one or two of them. You're now showing real people the technology. You are building proof and all that. The fourth target is that you want to follow up with that person you did soil testing with. You are staying connected. You are keeping their interest alive. You are moving people forward who don't qualify. And if you hit these numbers every week, you will have, based on we used to say the magic number 65, you will have 65 hectares in your portfolio. Yeah. If you follow this approach, the rhythm, if you follow the outreach, discovery, demo, follow up, if you keep repeating that, I guarantee you that results will come in. One of the mistakes that people make is that the agents make is that they try to talk to a few people and expect all of them to become customers. That's not how marketing works. You talk to 10, you qualify 4, you convert 2, something like that. 2 are your customers. Everyone is not your customer. Okay, more clarification for this slide. Okay, Muhammad, thank you so much. So here's what I mean again. For marketing to be effective, you have to. This is from my 7-year experience doing this business. Okay, you have to talk to like 10 people in your community, 10 farmers. First of all, you must have checked, do some initial. What you're trying to do with these 10 farmers is to find out what is their farm size, how much do they spend on fertilizer. Okay, so let's say out of that 10, 5 of them tells you that they are that they don't spend money on fertilizer, they use manure. They are not your customer. You see, 5 is gone. For that week, you're talking to 10, you're having 10 conversations. So out of that 10 you've had conversations with, 5 said we're using manure. They are not your customers. So you have 5 left. So out of that 5, they have significant purchase of fertilizer and they have up to 1 hectare of farm size. You see, that is qualification. You have now found people who A, are using fertilizer, and B, they have the budget, they have the spend. You now move those people to discovery. This is where you now start asking questions. What are your biggest challenges? Like we discussed, okay? Out of that 5, maybe only 1 of them will show you the strongest interest. Maybe 2 of them, strong interest, okay? Those are the ones that you do the analysis for, the demo. You can show them and say, this is how it works, because from your discovery, you found that these persons, they have the money, they have the motivation, and then you show them the demo because their problem and your solution, they have a handshake. So you see, within that week, you can do 1 or 2 demos, and perhaps 1 or 2 of them will convert. 2 customers, 10 people came in, 2 customers came out of your funnel within that 1 week. The next week, you target for 10 other conversations, new conversations. You do the same thing. 2 will come out. The upper week, 10 conversations, 2 will come out. Now, this is a very strategic way to approach marketing, because the way many people do is that they just go out and they talk to, it's random for them. Like the way marketers, extension agents do it today is that they just go out. There is no target in mind. Today, they can talk to 20 people. Tomorrow, they talk to 1 person. That is not a strategy. You go out, when you're going out to your village square or whatever to talk to people, your target is 10. That's it. Once you talk to 10 people that day, you're done for the day. The next day, 10. The next day, 10. That is how strategy works. Okay? You do it every week, every week, every week. Now, for the farmers who do the demo, who did not subscribe, you follow up with them. For the farmers who also were part of discovery, who were not very sure, you can still follow up with them, from time to time. At the end of the day, you want to have 65 farmers with at least 1 hectare each, or maybe more with less than 1 hectare, or maybe even 1 farmer with 65 hectares. I'm going to talk about this in the next slide. Okay, thank you, Mohammed. So, why does data accuracy matter? Why should it matter to an extension agent? Because remember, you are like a new breed of extension agent, okay? So why does it matter? The direct answer is that a bad information will equal to the farmer losing their trust forever. Imagine if you give the wrong perception, you say you're going to double their yield, you've lost their trust forever. And that is catastrophic for you because your business as an extension agent is built on trust. So I believe we have talked about this. Anyways, so um, so here's what you can do. Always make sure you collect the right coordinates so they don't get the wrong farm size and then you now recommend the wrong amount of fertilizer. Okay. Always record the farmer this correctly, like which village they are located, what crop they are growing, etc. Because these recommendations are based on crops. Always deliver the analysis the same day if you can. If they paid you today, give them the result the same day. And then lastly, be consistent. Try and follow up with them from time to time because this is how trust is built. So let me paint a picture of what your next 12 months will look like. Okay. Right now you are learning. And for some of you, you're not learning again because you've been with us for a while and you are nervous maybe, and you are building your trust one farmer at a time. So some conversations will go well, okay? Some will not, but you are learning. That's where you are now. 3 months down the line, the village people are starting to know you. The farmers, they will start recognizing you. Some may have done soil analysis with you. They have seen the results, okay? If you are starting to recommend you to their friends, that's like 3 months in March. 6 months down the line, this is where it gets good because farmers are asking for you by your name. Where is Mukhtar? So that's it. You will now be able to like accumulate this numbers slowly and slowly and slowly. Before you know, by the end of the by 1 year, you are making decent money from 65 hectares. And and this is real, and people will start to want to copy you. Other younger people, even older people, they want to see how they can imitate what you're doing. You can decide to even expand beyond your community. Your numbers can begin to go out there and people are calling you to see how they can get the same support. But it starts with that funnel of 10 people and 2 every week, 10 to 10 to, and from a side income, it can become a real income because I know many of us have full-time jobs. So, and this is just a part-time job. Extension is a part-time job. Somehow, if we can unlock it the way we are preaching it to you guys, there's a real possibility that, this can become a real thing. So I'm going to go over what your checklist should look like. So you have to, before you leave, I want you to note this very well before the end of this webinar. If you have a printer, you print it out, put it on your wall, so that you can remind yourself from time to time. You know your core talking points and you repeat them, just like we have said. That's how marketing works. You have to know them and you just reuse them. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Don't try and invent new ones every week. You have the same talking points, the same 5 ideas, use them over and over again. They work, okay? You ask good discovery questions and then you listen more than you talk. It's very important. The farmer should talk more than you. If you're talking more than the farmer, you've lost the plot. When you are listening, you are learning. Okay? The third thing is that you have to avoid overpromising. Trust beats marketing every time. Trust is the best marketing. Don't promise double yield. Promise better data leading to better decisions, leading to better yield. Okay? You have to follow up all the time and on time, 24/7 and find the chance follow up, and these follow-ups are non-negotiable. They are what separates the winner's extension agent from the average. Okay, your data is clean and accurate. When you are mapping, it has to be clean, it has to be accurate, because your reputation depends on it. Wrong farm size, wrong result. You know, every detail you have to do it right. Number six is that you tell real farmer story. If there are farmers in your community that has benefited, tell their stories to other farmers. Proof they beat talk. Talk is cheap, but you see proof, you cannot fight with it because they are real examples from real farmers, and that's what convinces people. You know, check these six things every week. If you are doing all six very well, you're on your path to clear 65 hectares and on your path to the magic number, which I'm about to talk about. So, um, okay. So this is the exciting part because this is the money part. How do extension agents make money at Rural Farmers Hub? Okay, there's a magic number. We call it 65 or 65 hectares. Now, this is your annual target if you want to succeed in this space. And uh, why does it matter? Okay, because 65 hectares is big enough to prove that an extension agent can make decent income doing extension service. You know, it's big enough to make real money. You know, and the beautiful part is it doesn't have to be complicated. You can have 65 farmers with 1 hectare each, or you can have 5 farmers with 13 hectare each, or you can have one farmer with 65 hectares. Any way you want to mix it, once you achieve 65 hectares in total, it works. The reason is because our services, they are priced per hectare. And 65 hectares is not a small land, you know that. It's a lot of land. That means you are managing a significant portfolio, okay? And that means you are important to multiple farmers. There are farmers who rely on you. That's the target, okay? So I'm going to show you next how that breaks out. So there are 3 services you can target. Now we are more focused on soil testing, but we can easily add other ones, okay? Let's talk real money. These are the possibilities what you can make from soil testing alone with other the advisory services that are bundled for 65 hectares at 11,500 naira per hectare. You're talking about 774,500 naira. That's just from soil testing and subscription alone. That's significant. This is commission only, not the cost of service. From seed and fertilizer commission, let's say you add that and you are making 2,500 per hectare of fertilizer, purchased. That's if you're doing fertilizer. So you have another 162,000 naira to go with. Remember, this fertilizer can come from an agro dealer, but because you're the person connecting it, you can do a markup on it. And if there's a tractor system that's available, you can earn up to 162,500 just by referring tractor to farmers that need mechanization. Add that up, you have 1.07 million. That's 1,070,500 from rainy season alone. And this is just for one season, okay, from 65 hectares alone. So that's why we always talk about 65 hectares. So now if it gets even better if you add dry season to it. Isn't like 20% variation between rainy season and dry season. So if you add that up, you can potentially get 1.2 million sharp in a year. And this is only for 65 hectares. So the more hectares you could do, the more money you can make. Okay. So that's your annual potential earning as an extension agent managing 65 hectares. There's about 10 million farmers in Katsina. Okay. So we're talking about 65 is like a drop in the ocean, and it's very realistic, but you have to put in the work. Remember, it doesn't come easy. If you do 100, that's like 2 point something million. And maybe you can get to a point where you stop doing this and you start training other people to do this kind of service for other farmers far and wide. In conclusion, first of all, I want to thank you for the attention. I think we ran over our 45 minutes. But I want to be very real with you, like I always am. Every time we talk, everything we talked about today, from the talking points, from the demo, from the follow-ups, discipline, from the data accuracy. It all comes down to one thing, you, the extension agent, you are rural farmers hub in your community. You are the company, okay? Even though you're not representing the company, but you are the brand. You are the person a farmer calls. You are the person they trust with their most important resources, which is their land, their money, their harvest. They trust you with that. That's responsibility. And it's also an opportunity. And here's what I want you to know is that your consistency builds trust. If you show up for these farmers every time, if you do the follow-up on time, if your data is accurate, if you tell real stories, if you know your talking points, the farmers will trust you. And trust is what builds your revenue. When farmer trusts you, they use the service. They refer other farmers. They do it again and again and again every season. And your revenue keeps growing. Your success is our success. When you make 2 million or 1 million, we make money also. You know that. When you manage 65 hectares, we have served 65 hectares of farmers with you. And that's impact. So my challenge to you is that for the next 30 days, I want you to see if you can commit that every week you make 10 conversations, and within that same week, you do 3 discovery interviews and do at least 1 to 2 demos, then come back and tell me, you come to our WhatsApp groups or you can write me personally and tell me what happens, okay? I bet that you'll be shocked by how many farmers you've connected with, how many interests you've generated, how many are saying yes. One thing for sure is that, there's going to be an outcome. So you have our support all the time. You have our resources. You have the app. If you ever get stuck, if you have any question, if you need help, please reach out, okay? Because we are building this together. So thank you for your time and thank you for being willing to be the brand in the field. I believe in you. You know that. So let's go and make this happen. Now we'll take any questions you may have.